Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. My name is Pearl Nube and this is The Help. I'm still with Usis Noma and we are still talking about mastering relationships. So last week we've been talking about, we spoke a bit about in-laws, and today I really want Sis Noma to help us on that because hey, we know that in-laws are not easy to deal with. But maybe to begin, I want to read from the Word of God from Ruth chapter 1 from verse 16. This is Ruth speaking to her mother-in-law, Naomi, and she says to her, "Do not urge me to leave you or to return from following you, for where you go, I will go, and where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God, my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. May the Lord do so to me, and more also, if anything but death parts me from you." It seems like these guys had a really interesting relationship, like a solid relationship. But what we hear from the streets and also from those that are married sometimes is not really a picture of this. So today I want Sis Noma to assist us. How is it in there? How do people manage to handle in-laws? Is it always bad? Um,
Hi everyone. So this topic is a very interesting one because, as you're saying, like with all relationships, there is potential to have a bad one, an okay one, and a great one. Still,
okay.
so these are all possibilities. The the difficult part comes in how people relate to each other. It also starts from first impressions.
Okay.
When people meet you, or how your partner introduces you to his family or to her family, that also plays a role. And also the dynamic of the family itself. Families are different. We have to accept that. And so imagine this, that there's a family that's, I'll give an example. Family that is God-fearing, that believes God this, and everything is about God, prayer, fasting, and then a young man or a young lady then gets married to someone who may not necessarily take these things seriously.
Okay.
Maybe who's still very active in the party scene.
Okay.
And or maybe also believes maybe in the traditional side of things. So then the dynamic may become complicated. Or even personality-wise. Let's say you come from a family maybe that believes in everything should be done quietly, and then the partner that comes into the family is a bit exuberant and a serious extrovert and louder than what this family is used to. That can also cause complications. Or downright people can look at you and just decide, we don't like you.
Okay.
Maybe because of the way you look. Maybe because they had an idea of who should have come into their family. These things are real.
Okay.
People have to deal with them. Or others may have maybe a controlling kind of dynamic. So if your partner doesn't come and conform, that could also cause problems. Because, as I'm saying, family dynamics are different.
Okay.
Also, what could also cause challenges is also your partner themselves.
Okay.
You see, if your partner, let's say, may not be happy about one or two things about you, they've got a habit of reporting your flaws, you're done.
Okay.
Because your defender has just sold you out.
I sort you out, yeah.
So this is what causes some dynamics. Other dynamics that are there is it's from the passage of scripture that you read, we get the mother-in-law and daughter-in-law dynamic, which is usually quite the dramatic sometimes, as I said, sometimes.
Yeah.
And the sister-in-law and the, otete labo, labo babakazi, you know, and you know that dynamic also can get complicated, but it usually it's if mom and tatas are united in disliking you, usually it's a discussion
Yeah.
in a family. We don't like this one, and then people choose to treat you how they feel about you. Or if they love you, then they will agree with, no, this one we love, and they will do that. Sometimes it may come from their past. Also, that may be sometimes some mother-in-laws did not have great examples of mother-in-laws as well, because maybe they got into families and their mother-in-laws treated them in a certain way. So, you know, we become what we behold until we make a choice to say, what I've seen is not good, and then change. And then say in the next generation, we are going to change how we do things. But some families just continue. If it was toxic then, toxicity is passed down from one generation to another, and it becomes a culture in a family.
Yeah.
That this is how we treat strangers. And remember, you may walk in and say, I want to come in and fit into this family. But this family may not be ready to accept you as their own. Maybe because they want you to prove yourself, they want you to, you know, time and all that they need. And then for others, it works out later after they've figured you out. But there are some that just, the way that they treat strangers is the same. So because you're not born there, they may decide not to give you a chance. And these are real things that are happening. So that's what creates this dynamic that is complicated. And also sometimes also your behavior as well. When you get into a family, you need to calm down and study and see what you have gotten yourself into. Firstly, by observing your partner.
Yeah.
Language. How he talks about family. If he does talk about his family, ask the questions, or her family. Ask the questions nicely. Just have a nice, light conversations and hear the responses. They may give you an in on what kind of dynamic is there. Also, if you can, find a way to observe them before you get in when they do their things. If you have the privilege of going there without causing any havoc, or if it's not too political for you to go, go and observe. Behave yourself well and observe. And observe them in action. What kind of people they are. It may give you an in. And also, we always say this, that these things, they look like they don't work. Pray also and say, God, if there's things I need to know here, may I know what this is? Then you may have a fighting chance of knowing how to conduct yourself in this family. So it is not a given that when you get in, it's fights.
Okay.
It is not a given that when you get in, it's nice. And these are all possibilities. But as an individual, you need to handle yourself well. To try not to be the source of trouble. You know, you can try. Your thoughts?
So what I'm getting from you is that you're saying the relations, the sour or the good relations do not start after you get married. You get to see these things before.
That's what I'm saying. If you have the privilege, because it's not all the time that you get to meet them because of maybe the way things are done. Like for example, my parents were very strict. So my mom told me, right, so we don't believe in this. You introduce this guy today, tomorrow. So you go to your aunt when you're serious about settling down. You want to see one dude that you're going to marry, and that's that. So it means my partner never really got to, all he had to go on was me.
Yeah.
Because of that politics, there was no, but after the lobola was done, then he could attend one or two. But already people would know who he is, so they would obviously maybe adjust, which is normal. So there are circumstances like that. It's hard to observe because of how the dynamic is. But for me, I had a bit of an in because his family was a bit more relaxed. So I could see one or two. And I didn't have many surprises about certain things. It's just that now you're just seeing them up close. So that's also another dynamic. While you were seeing them there, and now you have to experience them.
Okay.
You see. So and some, see, and the dynamic works like this. Some it is before. Some you may walk in and they are open, but it is you who doesn't get them and you don't do well. Then that relationship also, where you are adamant in not being accommodative. There are certain things that are not life and death situations.
Yeah.
Where you can bend a bit and be part of a family. Then there are other families that are downright manipulative. There's no other word we can call it. And so for those, any girl will struggle or any guy will struggle that gets in. There's no one who will be able. Some families are that hectic. That even if this one lives today, that's why when you find, the first partner will go, another one will come and will go and come and go. Then the dynamic of that family is just chaotic. It doesn't matter what you do. They are the way they are.
Okay, let's take for instance the one that you're talking about, a chaotic family.
Yes.
So if I find myself, or if someone finds themselves in that kind of situation, I mean, what they have going with their partner is okay. They get each other, they can live together. But then things just get crazy when there's the family side. How would then one navigate that?
You see now, you've said something very important. All of these family dynamics, whether good, bad, or okay. What helps is how the correlation, we spoke about the correlation last time, how the correlationship works. That's what helps.
Okay.
So, just like me, let's say if I had to go home and treat my partner anyhow, if I have an unreasonable family, they'll treat my partner anyhow because I have taught them it is okay to disrespect this guy because I disrespect him too. Same with the other gender. If a man treats his wife anyhow or good, the family will take the dynamic. I've heard people say, if you don't want to have a problem with so and so, don't talk about her husband like this, or don't talk about her wife like this. Then that's what now makes it simple for the family to learn from you.
Okay.
That this is how far. And boundaries are often set by the one who's part of the family. Because if you as a stranger try to set boundaries, it's not going to work out. But if it is the one who comes from the family who sets the right boundaries and sets them right so that it doesn't look like he or she has been forced into the situation, then it makes life simpler.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Makes life simpler. But don't walk in thinking you're going to change a family. You can go and add something there. And some may not want what you add. But what gives a fighting chance is if your partner gets you and you get each other, then it could be worth braving the hard things.
But if you don't get each other, don't think.
No, chances are if the family is chaotic and your partner is chaotic, you have either a choice to stay there and suffer and do this, or others have decided in the past to take what is theirs and make a plan apart from the relationship.
Okay. Yeah. The other thing that I know is that when people are in relationships, there is like this there's this drive or this agency to please the in-laws before marriage. They want to be accepted And I have heard that if you want to get married, play with your tetes, or they're the ones that are going to put in a good word for you
You know-
the guy now.
You know what? That's what people are told. That's what people are told. But it still depends. Remember the family dynamics. For some, it will work. For some, if they're genuine people and if you show them love, they'll do this. They'll reciprocate it because that's who they are. That is the family fabric. But there are some that will play along. And then at some point they'll show you, but you know what, this is who you are. So, and then at some point you may feel like you were cheated and all that. So my advice is, whatever you do, do it genuinely. Don't do it. If you want to do good because you are good.
Okay, good enough.
Don't do good because you're trying to over impress.
Okay.
Because you won't last as well. It won't last. So if you're a kind person, just be kind to people. Period. How they respond, maybe none of your business.
Yeah. Don't have control
You
over
understand?
that, yeah.
And I think overcompensating may become dangerous as well. Because that's where resentment comes from. That if they do not accept you, then you go from 0 to 100. But if you treat people well, treat them with respect, treat them with love, because that is who you are, then you're good. And if your partner is reasonable, they'll recognize it. Even if, let's say, the family decides to say you are not this enough, not that enough. If he or she is genuine and you're genuine, then they'll recognize too, but my person is okay. And also, I think I need to say this because this is where I think it gets a bit tricky. I think sometimes as partners, we expect our partners to get us too soon.
Okay.
And choose too soon. Let me explain. See, this person grew up in this environment, in this family, and may not, because they were raised by this system, they may not recognize certain things that may be difficult when someone comes in. You understand what I mean? For example, there's a guy who was saying, because he grew up in a family where anything was said anyhow. Like you just say. So he said, and this guy was a pastor, and he was telling us that he was confused when his wife would always cry. He didn't get it. Because the system that raised him made it okay.
Okay.
So which means even when she went there, this is what she received. She comes home, this is what she receives. It's only when they went to a couples meeting and these things were demystified that he understood and he learned how to talk to
her.
Yes. So that's what means that sometimes we'll be expecting too much from our partners to say, but I'm talking in the side where a family is a bit difficult.
Yeah.
He may not recognize it because this is what, or she may not recognize it, that this is too much for my person. But if you have a good core relationship, eventually you get there. Eventually you can talk about it and say, this is painful for me, or this is difficult for me. And do it not in an atmosphere of craziness. Do it in an atmosphere of talking. Shakana. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think this has been an amazing session. You just kept saying a lot. So what will be our takeaway for this one?
The takeaway is get to know. First get to know your partner. Get to know your partner well. Then you'll start getting an in on the system that raised him and
yeah.
whatever. Ask the right questions. Have real conversations around family. If you get a chance to go and observe the family, then you can observe at a distance. Whether it's at a distance, be wise. See what you need to see. Pray about it. Pray for God to show you the things that you need to see that will matter. Remember, on majoring on the minors, this is also an area that's very critical, where you need to see what the minors are and what the majors are, and be strong and courageous. There is no marriage where that scripture doesn't. Be strong and courageous, because challenges are going to come.
Yeah.
And if they come from that department, you need to have the wisdom to know how to handle it.
Okay.
But don't be afraid. It is possible. it is possible to have good relations with our in-laws.
All right, thank you very much, Noma. Guys, this has been amazing. I'm sure we all have a lot to really think about. So please continue supporting us. Your support so far has been amazing, and see you next week. Thank you very much.